Today is the anniversary of the death of a former slave who is now on the road to sainthood. Pierre Toussaint was born a slave in Haiti. He became a free man in New York and died in 1853 as a well-respected figure because of his Catholic faith. Pierre Toussaint was declared venerable by Pope John Paul II in 1996. And joining us now to tell us more about Venerable Pierre Toussaint is Deacon Harold Burke Sivers, co-host of God's Blueprint for a Happy Life on EWTN. Deacon Harold, welcome back. So great to see you again. There's really a lot to discuss about Venerable Pierre's life, but first, let's talk about his early life and how and when he arrived here in the United States.
Yeah, so Venerable Pierre Toussaint was born a slave in Haiti in 1766. In fact, his birthday was June 27th, just a couple of days ago. So he actually died a few days after his birthday. And his owner moved to New York City to escape social unrest in Haiti. And upon their arrival in New York, there were not many jobs that blacks could do back in those days, and one of them was hairdressers, one of the few occupations that was available. And so he began doing hair, as we like to call it in the African American community. And what's interesting is how he attracted people to himself. People were drawn in by his humor and his genuine kindness, and his cheerful attitude attracted many customers, including some of the most elite members of the New York aristocracy came to him to get their hair done.
That is amazing. Hey, I'm a woman. I like to get my hair done too. Tell us how he became so popular.
Well, one of the things that happened, he was nicknamed Saint Pierre by his customers. Why? Because he used that opportunity of dressing hair to talk about his Catholic faith. He talked about it very explicitly and also implicitly, of course, to people who weren't Catholic. And so people came to him not just to get their hair done, but also for counsel and to hear his wisdom and insights on things. That was incredible for that time. And it was very much informed by his faith. For 60 years, he was a regular daily mass goer to 6 a.m. mass every morning at St. Peter's Church in New York. And some amazing things even happened after that. Just an incredible witness to sanctity and holiness.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, was he born a Catholic?
Yeah, it was one of those things where the slave owner was Catholic, and so all the slaves were also Catholic. Same thing happened to Father Augustus Tolton as well. And one of the amazing things that happened was after the slave owner went back to Haiti, he died there, and so he left his widow basically penniless. And so while still a slave, still under their servitude, he financially supported the widow of the slave owner, made sure all the expenses were paid, and he was not bitter or hard-hearted. And he was eventually freed in 1807 at 41 years old, and then he got married and spent the rest of his life in charitable philanthropy, giving away most of his earnings to the poor, establishing orphanages and helping sisters, and establishing hospices and hostels for priests and refugees. Just amazing man of God.
Yeah, what an incredible life story. We know that, he was named venerable back in 1996. What's next on the path for sainthood?
Well, the beautiful thing also is that Cardinal, the former Cardinal Archbishop of New York, John O'Connor, moved his grave because he was buried next to his wife and their adopted daughter, and he's now buried in St. Patrick's Cathedral. He's the only lay person to be buried, given that honor, to be buried in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. And so he's venerable, so he needs a miracle now to become blessed, and then a second miracle for sainthood.
Wow, we have probably about 30 seconds left or so, but wondering if you can give us any final thoughts, and also, how Venerable Pierre may still be relevant today.
Well, everything that he endured, the hardships, instead of being angry, and instead of feeling like a victim. He went out there and showed people Jesus. Even everything he endured, he witnessed to the power of Christ's love and Christ's mercy. And that's what drew people to him. That's how he turned people on to the Catholic faith. And that's why eventually he's going to become a saint.
And thank you so much for coming on today and sharing his incredible story with us. So inspiring and uplifting. We really appreciate it. Deacon Harold Burke Sivers, co-host of God's Blueprint for a Happy Life on EWTN. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.